Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester, and I hope you are too, since you're watching content like this. The name of this channel is Manifesting Magic the Practical Way. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and hit the bell notification in order to get updates whenever I post new videos, generally 3 times a week, right? Sometimes more. Rarely is it less, but sometimes more, right? What I'm discussing today, let's just get right into that manifesting the magic in the life we choose. Defaults, right? So when we are raised and born, I think this is one of the biggest reasons why sociology got my attention so much when I was younger and why I took a career path in that direction. It's because when I started to get information about the basic understandings of how human beings are developed into who they are, how they become a person, how they become a personality, how they become an adult, and like what are all the elements that go inside of there. Well, the elements that go into it, it's infinite, right? It's not like a computer. I can name about 15 to 20 parts that go inside of a PC, right? If you're building one from scratch. So if you think about a human being, it's an infinite amount of pieces to the puzzle that we can tap into to say, this is how this person developed into who they are today, right? But what I didn't understand was what a default programming system was, right? So like on a computer, there's something called DOS. It's called a disk operating system. On most old-timey computers back in the day, I say old-timey because we're 2022, that was like your default operating system. And if you wanted to run a new operating system, you either had to install a hard drive that could handle the size of Windows, that can handle the size of Linux or whatever operating system you were putting on there. And then from there, you'd run a new operating system. So when your system boots up, it has an option. Do I want to run the disk operating system, the DOS, the old system, the one that runs the most basic operations on the system? Or do I want to run a operating system with a user interface where there's Windows and there's file management and there's an internet browser and there's all these things where I can save files and folders, right? So like being in the default is something that's very functional, because if you think about a computer, it's very functional in that position. It gets a task, it uses the tools that it has, and then it solves that problem, right? So it's doing what it's supposed to do. But for human beings, we come to a place in our life where we outgrow our defaults, right? And we outgrow the computer's default system the same way. We outgrow the default. So we start to pick apart our programming, and sociology helped me with that a lot. We're just like, well, why do I think people want money is like a negative thing? Like they seem greedy. Like if they just want to not be in survival mode, why does that seem like I'm saying that they're greedy? Like, where did I learn that, right? Where did I learn that, what is it when I was growing up? Oh, parents don't really hug their children. It was my mindset. It wasn't a negative thing to me. But in my mind, it just was, parents don't really hug their kids. I'm like, why would you even think that? And why would you say that? And it's because I was in an environment where that wasn't very common. And when I met other people who held like, minute, 30-second long hugs and minute long hugs, I was like, this is weird. You doing that? You hug I remember I met a friend. I was like, you hug your mom like that? And so what I'm saying is that sometimes we have these belief systems, and they are perfectly nestled into our default operating system that we use for the first 10 years of our adult lives. And then we have to realize, okay, I really need to upgrade. I really need to change my programming. I really need to develop my programming to where I can walk away from more things, and more tasks that I have in my regular life can be on autopilot, and that they're stamped with my essence or my signature that says, this is how I want it to play out. I don't have enough things in my life that are set on autopilot, right? So you start to get into this mode and you realize, okay, so my default programming is not working anymore. So then you have to start looking at, how do I program myself for success? And all that means is that when you do successful things every day, your outcomes will inevitably be successful in the long run. So if I sit here today and say, okay, I'm working from home, but these are like 15 or 10 things that I have on the list that I want to finish today, right? And now if I decide, you know what, I'm just going to kick back, I'm going to watch some TV, then go pick up the children from school and just be like, I'm going to pick it up somewhere later on in the week, right? Well, for me, because I don't really feel like I'm exhausted, I need to rest or I need a break or whatever, that's a wasted day. That's an unsuccessful day. And for me, building that time and that success comes in every moment, every day, every idea. So if I'm sitting here thinking, what do I want to have for breakfast? I don't check out on my successful programming. I say, let me program myself to want fruit first thing in the morning, because your body and your mind will do whatever you want it to do. We just get stuck in the ways of how it's already been operating. And when I tell you some things that you hold really, really deeply, especially as it relates to compromise and it relates to relationships, if you've never seen this stuff play out successfully, and most of us haven't, when I tell you most, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your kids, most people have not seen relationships with compromise and positivity play out correctly. And then to believe that you can be on a team and you can build something and make something grow, it's very hard. That's why usually children of married couples, they usually get married when they get older. If their parents were likely to divorce, the children are likely to marry someone that they're probably going to see divorce as a solution with. And if you come from, I know parents and families where they had a 2-parent home, people have been married for 50 years, all of their kids are married. It's just, and they have like 7 kids. It's just who they are. It's their essence, right? And it's not to say marriage is the most important thing, but what I mean is that their programming, their default programming works for them in that particular mindset, right? So think about these things. Where in your life does your default programming work for you? And where in your life does your default programming not? And in those places where it's not working for you, say it's when you're snacking or grabbing something for breakfast. I eat the worst things in the morning, you might tell yourself. I drink soda, I want to stop, My default programming is not soda. I didn't grow up with soda. When I was growing up, soda was in the fridge, like maybe a Pepsi, but it was never for the kids. So it was very easy when I got to be an adult. I don't really drink soda that much. I did in my early 20s for a little while, but I'll get it from a restaurant or going out once a month, maybe something like that. And if I want something fizzy, it's usually ginger ale. But I'm just like, it's programming that I don't have to tamper with because it was good programming. Whether it was intended to or not, it made me not rely upon or not desire it. From my perspective and my experience in this world, that's the impact that it had on me. And some of us have healthy exercise routines and all that we programmed ourselves with. I know I programmed myself to want to do something, exercise every day. If I don't exercise or do something every day, I feel like I wasted a day that I could have been being a little bit more fit and a little bit more healthy and a little bit more successful. If I'm working on a book or a project and I'm writing, right? Even if I sit there and I only write one paragraph, I've had days like that. I feel like it's an effort at success. So once you change your default programming, so think about your default programming. If your default program is an unsuccessful programming to do, like say, to drive, right? Your default programming for driving is horrible. I know people that's just bad drivers, right? They can't anticipate, they don't think. They're not smooth in their transitions. They jerk from lane to lane, and they're not even trying to. They turn with or without blinkers. They turn off into the far lanes and all. It's like really just all over the place driving, right? No order to it. And I'm like, you can do incorrect or ridiculous things when you drive. I tell my daughter that every day because she watches me hard, right? I say, but if you're going to get in somebody's way or you're going to do something that's inconvenient, make sure it doesn't inconvenience everybody else on the road. You miss your turn, you go make a U-turn. You don't sit at the corner and put on your blinker and make everybody behind you miss the light. So I'm just saying, there are these defaults. So default programming can be bad. So if you get to the place where you start to think, okay, if I want to be a successful driver, what do I need to do? I need to reprogram the way that I see myself behind the wheel. I need to reprogram the way that I see the teamwork that has to happen for driving to go well out on the road, right? I need to reprogram my mindset of, well, just because my parents taught it to me, that means it's right, right? Because I was like that a lot. I mean, I was bought, sold, and everything. I'm like, nope, if I learned it from my parents or my siblings, that means it must be truth. They always say this. And then I learned when I was later in life that people are flawed. They say things that don't always apply. They say things that are just catering to how they feel in that day. And you caught them on a day where they gave you this advice that they don't even use themselves. So you really start to pay really close attention to what are some autopilot things that I have automatic that work for me, and then model the new things after that, right? So if it works for you, keep it. If it doesn't work for you, then be like, how do I want to adjust this? What type of way can I reprogram myself? And like everybody knows, it only takes about 21 days to begin the process of reprogramming your mindset. And I think like after 60 days, it's complete. Right? So if you're like a person that say you hate exercise today, think about 21 days are going to pass anyway. Think about if you told yourself, I'm doing a 21-day challenge, or I'm going to walk in the afternoon for 30 minutes, no matter what, right? Guess what would happen after that 21 days? You won't want to stop. It will just be your way of life. And then if you get to 60 days of doing it, you will have days where you don't do it and then you don't feel guilty because you know that it's programmed in you and you'll do it the next day. So it becomes a permanent aspect of your life and who you are. And then when you start to do things in that sort of organized way, you start to see yourself more clearly. You start to see your mind and where you're at and what changes you want to make and how you want to develop or grow, right? But it's hard to know that when we're still stuck in these behaviors that aren't working for us, yet we keep trying to make them work. You're like, ooh, I already know grabbing this, candy bar won't be a good thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and grab it anyway. Maybe I can trick myself, my body. No, you can't trick none of it. Can't trick none of it. It just is what it is, right? So anyway, think about that. What are some of the places where you have default programming? And remember that if you program yourself for success, then success will be your default. That's all. Think about creating success in every area of your life that's important to you without having to work hard for it over time. So if you want a good romantic life, love life, program yourself into the way that you're going to react to situations and environments or moments where you don't agree with the other person, to where you're on a different page than the other person. Program yourself a healthy way to get to a solution as opposed to your old program and be like, this person is in my life. They in my way. I want to do something and I don't care about the value they bring. I want them gone. I want to go do what I want to go do, right? That's a lot of people's programming. That's mine. Go do what you go do whatever you want to do. And that's the way I've watched people in my upbringing and all that is sometimes you don't even know you have this programming. You don't even know that you bulldoze over everybody. It's like, I want to do this thing. I'm going to do it. I want to buy this property. I'm going to do it. I want to run this business. I'm going to do it. And we get in these modes and what we really do is create a really negative, default for ourselves that doesn't create success in relationships. Oh, that's finances, right? How can you create success in finances for yourself? One of mine has always been giving away money a lot because I couldn't see where I was bad with money. So I was like, I don't think my programming there is terrible because I don't get a paycheck and go, ooh, let's go to the mall and let's go, out to eat. I was never like that. I get money. I'm the kind of person that go drop money on an editor for a book. And I'm like, you didn't have that money, girl, and you would have paid that lady $1,500 to start editing your book. And you told her you was going to have the other half. That's the kind of things I would spend my money on in the years when my money was lean, right? And so when you think about your programming there, so my money, that part of it I kept because I'm like, I think I spend okay. I entertain myself. I enjoy myself. At the same time, I save some. But the other part was I don't give away anything. I don't give to people. Like I give things sometimes, but I don't have an intentional gifting mindset. And so I accumulated one. So now no matter what I'm doing, where I'm going, the answer is always yes. When I go to stores, they're like, you want to round up? Yes. Do you want to, donate to this thing at the counter? Yes. Do you want to? It's always yes, because I'm like, it means nothing. And I have the abundance to give. So why not? Right. And so that's why I'm so with the vagabonds on the corner. I don't care what they go do with that money or with people. And when I'm in the space to do it, it's so easy. But even when I'm in a space where doing it becomes less, I'm still doing it. I'm just doing it at a lower level. So you start programming yourself to, and I know that's created success for me because that was the one area in money where I had no intentional ideas or plans or mindset about how to give to others and not expect anything in return in that moment, right? Just, you can have it just because, and it's a beautiful mindset that I've adapted. But another one too that I find that I have a default in is that anything related to investments and all that kind of stuff is a waste of time. And it's because really I just don't understand it. So now I'm partnered with someone. I have a partner who's very well versed in at least a lot of levels of understanding finances and growing money that I don't have. And so that's something that I'm going to latch on to more, right? So sometimes we're just like beating ourselves up about bad programming when really it's not the whole idea around money. It's not the whole idea around relationships. It's not the whole idea around our career. It's just pieces of it that aren't working for us. And that one little switch, that one little thing you change or fine tune or flip or make work in your favor can catapult you eons ahead of what you might have gone had you kept that thing. Because you're only as strong as your weakest link. And if your weakest link Is that personality thing happening for you? I had a meeting at 10. I was like, is it 10? Not yet. Then you'll see really quickly, right? Anyway, I hope you all are having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you think somebody can use this motivational and uplifting and very practical information as it relates to who we are as human beings, our experience, how we develop as people, and what that means to our success in manifesting the life that we choose, right? I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day and keep on manifesting magic.